Episode 127 of Cal Cagnal Radio starts right now. I'm looking up at the top, and that's why I try to figure out when the actual recording starts, so I don't sort of miss the beginning.
Yeah, no, I think if you hit record, you got to give it like a solid 5 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
You see it like this.
Right. So people start watching, we're just like blankly gazing at the computer.
Like when they cut to someone who's like overseas, they're like, now we're going to go over to Frank Jacobek in Iraq. Thanks, Matt. It's always like this really big delay.
No, it's twice of what you just did, though.
Okay, throw it to me.
Yes, our listeners here, we're going to be going live to Saudi Arabia on the oil crisis. Cal?
Thanks, Joe. I'll tell you, that really, really, and how pregnant of a pause it was that. Like it just, that's what they call it in the business, a pregnant pause.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for being here for episode 126. What are you drinking?
A little Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
Okay. Where does one get that?
Liquor store.
Oh, Screwball.
Well, peanut butter whiskey.
With a K, not
Right.
SCREW.
I didn't even realize that.
It's got a K in it. You know that made it totally dudical.
Hey, the way things are going nowadays with texting and stuff, do you realize words are spelled wrong and you don't even realize it? Because
No.
like that was to me, like it's like Hooked on Phonics worked for me. As long as it sounds about right when you read it, it's fine.
The other day, my son wrote cool back to me, and he wrote it KOOL.
Oh.
And like I had to pull him aside. I was like, Grant, did you know it's COOL? And he's like, yeah, I know. No one writes it like that. And I'm like, same thing like you said, where you're like, are we raising a generation of idiots?
Yeah.
Like eventually will like my grandchildren, what sounds really weird to even say, will my grandchildren spell it KOOL because they're like, oh yeah, back in the 2000s, they just changed it.
Like however you wanted. Like as long as it was phonetically spelled, like fart could be PHART.
Like Fat
E.
Matt. Like
Right.
Fat Matt.
Right. Then it's okay. Like our term papers in the future, like are our kids going to write term papers at college and they could just whatever? Spelling is no, spelling's out the window. Are
Dude, at this
are we regressing back to hieroglyphics?
cave paintings.
Yeah, or is it, I think that's
crude, drawn with sticks, cave drawings.
yeah.
There it's a
Like
cave
some
man.
kids like, hey professor, for my term paper, you gotta come with me down to the caves underneath East Lansing. And then like on the cave on the like wall of the sewer, he has hieroglyphics and like that's his thing.
Right.
And
And
you
it's
know
like,
the professor would be like, well, he did his best, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to grade this.
I'm going to give him a solid A for effort.
Right.
And because he's trying as hard as he can, he gets an A+.
He's a social justice warrior.
Yeah. It's got just like the Little Caesars guy. And like, you know what I mean? And a caveman. I saw something the other day and it said, I'm starting to think the Little Caesars man was just made up to sell pizzas.
He is a weird little character.
Yeah, Little Caesar.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like supposed to be Julius Caesar, I think, but also little.
and also all the nice stereotypical Roman features, like the big nose.
He's got, very much nose heavy.
He's
like
he's the chief wahoo of the Roman people.
Yeah.
So if you want to get racist and stereotypical, Little Caesar is the stereotypical
Yes.
Roman. like if Pontius Pilate came through Bill and Ted's phone booth, he would be offended.
Yeah, he'd be like, wait a minute. Do I look like that?
My nose is not that big.
Yeah. He's also French.
Yeah, that was more Napoleon.
Or is that Napoleon? Does he talk like this? The only reference I have to Napoleon, though, is the commercials they run for Adam, the divorce lawyers for men.
Yes.
Hello, Julianne, or what's her name? Julie. No, what's the?
Let's not lose our heads over this.
I mean, we can't talk this out. It is no good, or something like that. Let's not lose our head. Let's not lose our head over this. Yeah, that's right. All right, so thank you guys for listening today. We appreciate it, and thanks for everybody who's watching on YouTube. Getting about 50 views. Yeah, 50. I know that's not exactly what, the stuff that houses are built from, but a lot of people are really enjoying it. I saw a note the other day. Someone just said the facial expressions while we're doing this are the best part. That people didn't realize that, like, we're just dying to speak while the other one's talking.
Right. I never know the last 3 seconds of anything you've said because it's already clicked in my mind what I want to say, and I'm all like primed to jump in.
You're like a spastic teen, ready, just ready for it. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question before we start into what I really want to talk about. How long is Bohemian Rhapsody? Without looking, how long is that song?
I'm going to say a 7-minute song.
It is not 7 minutes.
Okay.
Is it longer or shorter? What do you say?
I'm going to go longer.
Okay, me too. We were driving in the car just a moment ago. We went to do a store pickup. Wendy is bought some, I don't know if they're like scarves or if they're bandanas. I'm not sure. Either way, they can double as like a cute scarf and also a Corona mask, which is like
I like how you go, they could double as a cute scarf, and then like you made something on your hands, you did something to your head there as though like the scarf would be worn as like a turban.
No, it's like covers your hair, like, so not like a hijab, but like just like a thing like you could put your hair back for women.
Like a babushka?
No, it's just like
a babushka?
No, it's not. I don't even know what a babushka is. All I think of is like old Italian people who knew Little Caesar.
Babushka.
Yeah, who knew Little Caesar. Very Roman looking, very Roman features. I have Roman features, kind of. And there's like, no.
I don't know what you are. I love that you said you look like Quagmire. That's all I can think of now. That's all I can think of now. The jawline of Quagmire.
Yep, that's what I look like. Giggity, giggity, giggity. That's what I look like. So anyway, so we're driving, and my daughter Morgan says something about Bohemian, and I said, she said, like Bohemian Rhapsody, and I said, well, someone who's Bohemian isn't really called that because of the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Like somebody who's Bohemian is like doesn't take a shower and listens to Rusted Root and lives off the earth and
very hippie.
Yeah, it smells like patchouli oil.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, that song.
Bicycles. It makes dresses and candles.
Out of tattered rags.
Yeah. They're unemployed other than fixing bicycles around the neighborhood. And
exactly.
And selling candles in the front yard.
Right. So she was like talking about being Bohemian. She said something about that song, and I was like, oh, that's the worst. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't like that song. It's so long. It's so annoying. It's just too much for me. Just too much. And she said to me, she's like, said something about it being, only 6 minutes long. She looks it up, and I'm like, there's no way. She's like, yeah, it's 5:55.
Really?
And I'm like, is that like the edit or something? Is that like half the song? Yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody, only 5:55, and it feels like it's 12 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
And then I went on to say how much I didn't like the song, and then went on to sing the whole song with Wendy.
Right. Well, you don't have to like a song to know it.
Yeah, and we know roughly 35 to 40% of the words, but it still doesn't stop us from Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, let me go.
And even like the stuff that as you're singing it, you're like, what does this even mean?
Right.
Like no clue what the lyrics. It's like Nirvana lyrics.
Right. And the context of it all is a little odd too.
Right.
Where you're like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, I know all these words, but they don't make sense in this sentence.
Right. If I speak them to somebody, I sound like a lunatic. But singing them to that, melody, other people jump in and want to sing along with you.
Okay, so let's talk about your current locale. Where are you in your house?
I'm in the dining room.
You're in your grandma's house? Hello?
Yeah, this?
Yeah.
Yep.
That does kind of look like, with the crystal behind you, it kind of looks like the the crystal hutch of my grandma.
It's something built into the corner of our dining room.
Cordio Cabrio. Is someone behind the computer? Is she sitting there?
No.
Oh, because
you're looking.
Because you're looking like, please stop talking about the decor. Please don't.
Not at all. I just don't know where to go from.
Okay.
So we'll talk. It's just built into the corner of the room.
Okay. So
I can open it. We can go through it if you'd like. I mean, I don't know what more to say than, it's built there. I don't know.
Yeah. So he's got a corner cabinet behind him and then a Christmas tree up and over his left shoulder. What's with the Christmas tree?
The Christmas tree, my wife's mother passed away, and it was something that she loved and kind of always had up. So Molly just keeps it up.
Okay, so it's up all year round.
Yeah.
And my next 4 jokes are now buried because of that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? The uneven pictures.
What's going on with those?
I think Molly, when she hung pictures, she did it cross-eyed, and she just eyeballed it, because all around this house, every picture is crooked.
Oh, okay.
And especially when there's supposed to be like a pattern, like the pattern doesn't, like she didn't like grid it out.
She didn't get like at no point was there a measuring tape or even a yardstick involved.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Or even, God forbid, a level
or a plumb.
Hey, boop. She just snaps it. Yeah. Pulls back the chalk line, snaps it onto the wall. Perfect.
Yeah, none of that happened.
Yeah, okay, well that's good. So one of the things that I was thinking about, and I don't mean to surprise you with anything, but you do have a birthday coming up next week. Are you excited about a quarantine birthday?
I'm one of those guys that are like, it's just another day. So I'm kind of Eeyore about the whole birthday thing. So when it came to my daughter, I was bummed for her. Like, I was bummed for her that she couldn't have a good birthday during quarantine. Hopefully what we did for her, she liked and she enjoyed. But it sucks for your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, who cares? Like, my birthday is next Wednesday. I think the big thing I'm gonna do ribs, and then the weekend after my birthday, I think I got clearance from Molly to be able to go over to my mom's. We're gonna fire up the smoker, and we're gonna do some like pulled pork and stuff like that on the smoker.
That's kind of clearance. You got clearance to do it. Well, will it be May 15th yet?
Will it be May 15th?
Yeah.
No, it won't. It will be May 9th, I think.
So you'll have like social distancing, wearing your mask.
Right.
Just going out, wearing that gas mask that you posted online the other day, which looks like
my bait mask.
Yeah. You look like you're going to be part of a airstrike in World War II.
Yeah.
You're like, time for the airstrike.
It's great. Like, the thing is, when you put on like one of those N95 masks, you're like, these things are so flimsy. Like, these are stupid. And like, if you look at them,
these are so stupid.
If you look at them, like the straps are stapled to the mask. So like, you know, if you go to take it off and it gets hooked on your ear, they can snap like really, really easy. So it's like you kind of got these flimsy masks, and then you go over to my mask and it's such overkill. Like I'm like doing my job and have that thing on, and everyone's like, wow, like you are really prepared for like a chemical attack.
Yeah, you're really ready that if mustard gas is been added into COVID-19's mix of problems, you're going to be ready.
Yeah, I look like a G.I. Joe character. It's overkill. But the thing is, it's comfortable. You can breathe better. But yeah, it looks like something Tony Stark would have made.
Okay, so what are you going to do for your birthday then? Do you want us to drive by your house and wave? Like what?
No.
I feel
I feel like you do that for kids. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean,
do you want me to organize a Zoom call with all the people who listen to this show?
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I mean, it's just because that would interfere with me eating ribs with my kids and cooking ribs and stuff. So
we can do it any night you want, any night we're available.
If someone wants to post on Facebook "Happy Birthday" or send me an Instagram of "Happy Birthday," by all means, go ahead. I'm not a jerk in the fact that like I don't take like I like that is what I'm trying to say. I can't find the words, but like it does mean something to me when somebody says happy birthday to me. Like it means something to me. But as far as like a parade or something where someone has to go out of their way to do something, like no, not at all.
You don't want us all to come by your house, stand on your front lawn, wave?
No, I don't.
6 feet apart, we'll just wave though. Hey, happy birthday.
Everybody puts their arms out to the side and measures out. And then
Hey, Tayshaun Prince shows up and he's got a 9-foot wingspan, so he throws the whole thing off.
yeah, 6'7" with a 9-foot wingspan.
Yeah. 8 inch long with a 10-foot. We can always get it back to Josie.
He has to use the cargo pockets in his shorts for his normal pockets. It's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Short Dog will look like that as well. Remember Short Dog?
Yes, pork chop.
Pork chop. That was it.
Short Dog, and he was Short Dog forever, and then he switched it up to pork chop.
Yeah, this guy we knew was born with just a different looking body than everyone else. That's what I would say, right? Just a little different. Had very long
his legs
arms.
were a bit shorter.
His legs were a bit shorter, but his arms weren't. So he had super long arms.
No, here's the thing. I think his arms, his head, torso, and arms were all in proportion. But then I think like from like midsection down, like the waist down, it was like his legs, like it would be like if you put shoes where your knees are.
Like Dorf.
Like Dorf golfing. Yes. He was similar to Dorf.
Yeah.
So he always went by Short Dog, and then one summer he changed it up to Pork Chop.
Well, yeah, he just wanted to make sure to know that he's now Pork Chop.
Branding. He was trying a new brand. What are you doing? You're like looking around as though
trying to figure out what's going on upstairs. I hear pounding, which means
now we're all like silent. We can't hear it.
I think Wendy's pounding out chicken, making chicken cutlets or something.
Oh, okay.
I thought for a second someone was pounding on my door.
Oh, okay.
Which in the COVID era, anybody showing up to your house, you're just like
pounding on your door like the Purge.
I never saw the Purge, but I will use a Purge joke anytime I can.
Oh, Purge is weird. Like that's a weird concept.
Dystopian world, right? Like just another world.
You know what? It's not dystopian. That's the thing. Like dystopian is like post-apocalyptic, right? It's very
like Mad Max.
Exactly. That's very dystopian. The Purge is normal. It's normal society. So like the way the Purge starts is it's a normal neighborhood, like your neighborhood. But then
you're like exactly like your neighborhood.
Yeah. And then that night at the stroke of midnight, or from like 10 o'clock, I think it's from like midnight to 6 in the morning. There's just no law.
Right. It's lawlessness.
I saw like to me that's very it's very creepy. And those types of movies that like when you know the human mind can go there and think of that, you're like, dude, this could really happen.
You're like, that one, Harry Potter, and Pan's Labyrinth are the ones I just can't watch before bed.
Right, because they could happen.
Who let the Judas out?
Driving by my house.
Yeah, all right, so what do you want to talk about? The Last Dance? Do you want to talk about
that? Because I'm sure by talking about that, we'll just talk about sports.
Well, and you can tell your Dennis Rodman story. The Dennis Rodman story needs to come out.
We could do that another day. We could do Dennis, because I think the Dennis Rodman story is better like when me and you were in the same room. Like there needs to be a bit more.
I wasn't there.
I know. But like I feel like there's always better energy. Like when this whole thing is over, I hope to start coming back out to your house to record, right? Because I think it's a better energy, like the two of us together.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
And so like on this, from stories I've already told, the punch isn't there. Like there's not that energy. So like me, it's kind of like the equivalent of a phone call. Like a phone call, if I'm telling you about Dennis Rodman over a phone call, it's not as funny as like they're kind of feeding off it.
Lighting farts.
And that's a good story. So like I would hate to like waste that. But by all means, I mean, if I talk about it, We'll see how it goes. So
Okay,
if we
okay.
talk
Here
about
we go.
Last Dance, we'll talk about that.
All right, here we go. We'll talk about Last Dance. Episode 126 continues on Cal Cagno Radio. And
I bet Dennis Rodman. I used to live there. Do you want to hear the story?
For those of you who didn't hear what he said he met Dennis Rodman. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Do you want to tell it right now?
I can tell the story. Well, what were you going to bring up?
I was going to bring.
What were you going to talk about?
Hang on. I don't have corona.
Right.
Oh.
6 months of that hacking cough. If the people only knew what they didn't hear, and then when we came back, they would understand.
I can leave anything in. Anything I want to leave in, I can leave in.
Yeah, leave it all in, because then they know what's up with the.
Oh, God, that's funny. No, I'll leave part of it in. All right. Anyways, The Last Dance is the biggest thing that's going on right now. The reason I was started to talk about it was because last night we watched on Fox Sports Detroit. It was on the widescreen of our TV, but it was only in the middle because it's old.
Right. Yeah.
What do they call that? Standard definition? Poor man's TV?
Yeah. What
Hobo TV?
Full screen.
Full
screen is what it was like.
Full screen.
Yeah, DVDs. You used to buy them in widescreen or full screen.
Why would anyone buy a full screen?
I don't know. I did by accident once.
Yeah.
I bought the Back to the Future trilogy.
Oh, no.
And it's all in full screen. It is awful. I can't even watch it. I don't even watch it. Like
Wait, so when you put it on your screen, there's like black on either side, right?
Yeah, like 4 inches. The other day I was going to be like, ask my girls, like, hey, you guys want to watch Back to the Future? And I'm like, nah, I got the full screen. I'm not even going to ask. Why? It's not even worth it.
What was the other thing that they would do? They would call it like a DVD shift or something like that.
I don't know.
Remember, like, yeah, where you would like, it didn't fit on the screen, right? So like for the DVD, the whole screen would go.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I can't watch them, because of those. So like when you have the full screen, for people to understand like what we're talking about, like let's say on a widescreen movie, like a normal widescreen, say 2 people are sitting at a table talking, like When Harry Met Sally or something like that.
Oh, yeah, what she's having.
2 people are at a table. On widescreen, one person would be on the left side of the screen, then there'd be table, and then one person would be on the right side of the screen. Well, when you do full screen, it chops off, the sides of that, so you wouldn't be able to see both the people. So what they do for full screen is it's almost like they would crop the film where like it would show the person on the left and it would do a fake camera pan to the person on the right. So if you were watching it in normal widescreen, you're seeing both the people on the screen.
Yes.
If you're watching it on full screen, you're seeing a pan from one person to the other person. That's a fake pan. And it's so annoying. I can't watch it.
Natural, right? Like it was like the whole screen would go
right.
Like, and it would only go a little bit, but like you said, in order to see both Harry and Sally, they would have to do that. It was called a DVD shift or something, but it was super awkward every time they did that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I couldn't stand
So we were watching this last night. There was no DVD shift, but it was the finals when the 2004 finals when the Pistons with Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace and all them. Excuse me. I'm burping because I'm drinking Coke Zero. When they beat Kobe and Shaq and Karl Malone, who I forgot was on that team. Yep. Remember my Karl Malone story? For those of you who don't remember, on Joe's wedding day, his first wedding, we were at the Townsend Hotel, and I just want to make sure it's clear that this wasn't last year when you got married. This would make no sense.
Right.
So this was, what year did you get married?
1999.
1999. It's me and our buddy Bo. We're going to check Joe into the hotel, get all his bags there, and no, we didn't play any pranks, which I don't really know why we didn't, but we were going to get all his bags there and get them all set up at the Townsend because that was where he's spending his matrimony night. And there in the lobby is the Utah Jazz. But we didn't realize who they were. We just realized they were basketball players. So we said to the person at the front desk as we're checking in, can you tell us what team this is? And he's like, I'm sorry, sir, we're not allowed to do that. And up strolls.
He's like, I'm sorry, the Utah Jazz does not want us giving their And you didn't realize that you had given John Stockton your bags. Like, here you go, son. You take those up
he had
to my
super
room.
short shorts on. How was I supposed to know?
And he was all like 5'4".
Yeah. He had like fuzzy, he had like hair like with the Beatles. And he's 5'4" and had short shorts on. I'm like, here, take these, bitch. Just tossing my bags. So we're standing there, and up strolls Karl Malone, who looked like he was 20 feet tall. If he
Was he
like,
wearing LA Gear catapults?
I don't remember exactly what he had on.
He was the spokesperson, the sponsor for LA Gear tennis shoes.
Okay, let's go. We're going to get into The Last Dance in a second. Okay, so he was LA Gear.
He was LA Gear, and he did the catapults. Do you remember those?
No.
They were supposed to make you jump higher. So, like, when you transferred the weight from your heel to your foot as you jumped, supposedly the catapult in the back was supposed to help you elevate. And that was Karl Malone, LA Gears.
Okay, let me get to this. I'm going to finish my story. He walks up pissed off, and he's a notorious dick. Like, that's his deal. Like, he's a jerk. People don't like him. You can read anything about Karl Malone. Everyone says he's the biggest a-hole in the world, and he was in this moment. He walks up. He's pissed about his room and is not going to wait in line. So he walks up. He says, there's a problem with my room. I want a different room. And they're like, all right, hang on 1 second. He's standing 1 foot from me. I turn and look at him. I'm standing there in a tuxedo, and I say, how's it going, Mr. Malone?
You know what I would have said?
Wait,
there's a line. There's a line.
Not when you're 20. You wouldn't have. And he looks me up and down in the tuxedo and walked away. Didn't even say, what's up? So I've rooted for him to get hurt ever since.
Yeah.
Only bad things.
And I loved it when he couldn't win the championship in Utah. So he went to LA, and LA was doing awesome. And he's going to go play with Kobe and Vladdy Divac and whoever. And
Shaq.
And Shaq. Yeah, that's right.
And then Gary Payton. Remember, they got Gary Payton, too. Yep. And they didn't win it there either.
No,
yep. Sorry, dude.
They almost got swept.
Yep. So the 5th game was on last night. We watched that. And it was cool to watch the Pistons when they were really good, especially beating the Lakers and Karl Malone. Now, you're Karl Malone. Let's say you just got drafted, and the NFL draft was on last week. And let's say you're NFL, probably basketball would make more sense for this scenario.
Okay.
You're offered, you're already going to make millions in the NBA. You're offered $10 million from LA Gear to do the catapults. They're called the Jerky Catapults.
Yeah.
Or you're offered $5 million from Nike.
Yeah.
Like a respectable brand that may or may not run sweatshops, but still a brand that people actually like.
Sure.
Are you going to be the pioneer who's like, screw it, I'm taking the money and running?
No.
Or are you just going to go with the trusted brand?
I'm going with trusted brand.
Me too.
I will always go trusted brand. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, even in today's world, look at the Ball brothers. So Lonzo Ball, he had what was a big baller brand.
Yeah, I don't even. Did they ever come out?
Yeah, they did. They've had a few different models, but like he was offered like a Nike contract, and like his dad screwed that all up and was like, we don't want a Nike contract. We want Nike to like take us on. So there would be like Nike, the Jumpman series, and then the Big Baller brand. Like he wanted like Nike to like bankroll a subsidiary.
Yeah.
Like what?
No, so that's not gonna happen.
Nike was like, kick rocks.
Yeah,
and
dude.
then like their shoes came out, he charged like $500. It was like the first $500 sneaker or something like that, and they like fell apart, and it was a mess. And then Lonzo Ball got that like the BBB, Big Baller brand, like tattoo on his arm, and then this year he got it removed.
He did?
Yeah, he got a tattoo over it because he no longer has anything to do with it. Like him and his dad, like kind of kind of separated, and
What was his
he's out
dad's
on his own.
name?
Lonzo.
No,
Lamar.
Lamar Ball. Yeah,
Lamar
he's
Ball.
the one who said he could beat Jordan one-on-one.
Yeah. That guy.
Oh, dude, he's that guy.
He is a train wreck of, I don't want to say a train wreck of a human being.
Yeah, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I don't know anything other than just the way I think he's a train wreck of a parent.
And a train wreck of a manager for a basketball player. Now, some may argue, hey, his one kid's in the NBA. His other kid's going to be in the NBA. Could be the number one pick this year. His other kid plays in Yugoslavia or whatever. I mean, I guess there is something to be said for that. But I don't know how much his management experience has helped them get to that plateau of their career.
Right. I think he probably instilled a certain drive and a certain bar that he set for the kids that they attained to get them to a certain level. But then once they passed that level, I think he was a detriment.
Yeah.
Kind of the whole COVID thing, like with the bell curve. I think like where he got them.
All of that got lost. Hit it again because you froze and none of what you said was on there. Go ahead.
Well, like with the bell curve, like with COVID, I think where they started to go, like he got to a certain point with his kids and they could have just kept going. Like if they signed with Nike, if they would have done all that. But I think he bell curved it out, made it go down from there. And, where to the point where if you watch that, the like Ball in the Family or something like that, it's
which was on Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook.
It was on Facebook. Because that's where I go for all my best reality television.
Right,
it's on Facebook.com.
Yeah. Like it shows like the kid, like the one kid that's supposed to get drafted in the NBA this year. I've actually watched a few of those episodes. That kid is terrified of his dad.
Oh, really? Is it LaMelo?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that show's been going on for like years, right? So like we're kind of talking about it now as if it's been like a year or two. I think that show's been on like 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen it.
So like Lonzo, he's finally got the dude who plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. He's the brother that's finally like broke away from his dad. And then he like kind of whispers to his brothers like, man, you guys got to get away from dad. Like you need to do your own thing. And so like the youngest who's about to get drafted this year, I've seen episodes of him where he'll talk to Lonzo and he's sold on it. He's like, yeah, I'm going to tell dad this and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do this. And dad walks into the room, says jump. And he's like, how high?
Yeah. He's like, you got it. I don't know. No, I wasn't on the phone, Dad. It's totally cool. Love you, Daddy.
That's exactly
Love you, Daddy.
it. They're terrified of him.
Oh.
Terrified.
And for him, those are his meal tickets, right? Like all of those guys.
Yeah. Yep. And he's
never forget that LeBron didn't want that dude on his team anymore, so he got him traded.
Yeah, because I swear it's because he couldn't deal with dad.
Yeah, well, the younger one, whatever one was in high school, they were on like their third coach at like one of these prestigious like private schools, and the one coach was like, the reason I'm done is because of that dad. He'd come in at the halftime and be like, here's what you're doing wrong.
Yeah,
he'd show up during halftime and like tell the coach what's up.
Yeah,
like that's not cool.
No, it's bizarre. And then like, oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Was it something about the fact that Steph Curry did the same type of thing as we were talking about earlier with Karl Malone, where he went and he's Under Armour, which never had a basketball really division, and now he's the face of that. And I'll tell you, my son for like a while was like, dude, Under Armour's legit because Steph Curry does it, and now he's like,
until the first Steph Curry's came out that looked like those white orthopedic shoes that like lunch ladies wear. Do you remember that? Like all these celebrities.
They look like New Balances.
Yeah, all these celebrities were like, they look like Skechers.
Yeah.
like don't knock New Balance. They look like Skechers. And so all these celebrities were like posting, like tweeting about, they would like show like pictures of old people wearing like, it was almost like a pair of Brooks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was awful.
But yeah, so he's the face of that. But yeah, we were talking
what's the greatest shoe that like when you think the epitome of like okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is like
Dennis Rodman.
No, you're right. I guess I'm trying to say like a shoe that you were sold on because of the endorsee. Did you ever have any of that in life?
Well, we never had money growing up, right? Like, so that was what I was telling my kids. Like, we were kind of like, my dad worked 2 jobs when I was growing up, and I always thought he really liked to work. Like, I didn't know why he was a mover on the weekends, but like, was in school full time during the week and also had some crappy job working for his dad where he smelled like oil all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but I mean, I would say the only ones I really fell for the gimmick, not really even who sold them, is the black tops. Do you remember black tops? They were like
British Knights, weren't they?
No. They were made by Reebok. They were called Reebok black tops.
Oh,
And the
you're right.
bottoms of them
Yes.
were made of like a hard plastic, almost like if you walked on the street with them, you could fall and break your neck because they were made so that when you played outside on like the blacktop when you were playing basketball, that they wouldn't wear thin.
Right.
But they were so crappy that like it was like made out of like a Tonka truck. Like you were wearing shoes that like there was no in between.
It was like wearing like wooden shoes.
Yeah.
Like you're done.
Yeah. Wooden shoes also wouldn't get wear down on the blacktop.
I'm having the time of my life.
Pass me the rock. I want to dunk it.
I think a shoe that I was sold on because of the endorser was the Reebok pump.
Oh,
like when Shaq
cool.
Shaq with the Reebok pumps, like I always got made fun of for I never had good shoes. Like
right.
Same
Me
thing.
neither.
Didn't grow up with a lot of money. My grandma would buy my shoes and she would buy what was ever in the aisle at the grocery store, like where you basically found the left shoe and the right shoe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you'd go to Kroger and like by the cheese section, there would be like a bin of like cheap shoes. And like my grandma would get me those. They were like Jordache.
Right,
things like that. And then I remember in junior high, I started getting made fun of for my shoes. About that time, like Shaq started to endorse Reebok. And then when they came out, those first, like they came out with the Reebok pump basketball shoes, the cross trainers, and then they had a tennis shoe.
I don't remember the tennis shoe.
Yeah, the tennis shoe, the like little pump mechanism, it was a tennis ball. Like that.
I do remember that now that you say that.
And so I didn't like the basketball shoe. I've never been a high top guy.
Right.
But so I remember all I asked for Christmas, all I want was a pair of the Nike Pump cross trainers, and I got them.
Oh,
it was
that's
the only
awesome.
gift I got that Christmas, but I got them. And then I think the year following, like Shaq, like he was only doing Reebok, I think, and then the following year he actually got his own shoe, and I couldn't afford those.
Well, yeah, for sure. There's no way. No, I would say
the Reebok pumps were the ones that got me.
Did you ever have Jordans?
I didn't. I own a pair now.
Which ones do you have? You have the Tinkers?
I have the Tinker. So those are what the fives.
I think they're Jordan 5s. Yeah, my son would know.
Variant of the fives.
Yeah.
So the Air Jordan, the 4s and the 5s were the ones I always liked.
Yeah.
Because like when we were kids, like we didn't grow up in Chicago. When the first Jordans came out, nobody was down with them. Everyone acts like they were.
No.
But the Jordans, like Jordan, his stature in the NBA, if you're younger and you're listening, his stature in the NBA, maybe in Chicago was big, but people around here didn't start catching on until about the Jordan 3s were out. When I see a picture of like the Jordan 3s, I remember like the first kid at Star Elementary School had a pair of
Which ones were Jordan 3s? I got to look at those. Hang on. I'm going to look it up real quick.
But like the 1s and the 2s, nobody had those. Like I never even saw a pair of Jordan, the 1s until about 10 years ago when they started doing all the retro.
Oh, the Jordan 3s. Yeah, they kind of had the like almost like, can you see my thing? Those them?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
they kind of have like a leopard print kind of back on them.
Exactly. They have that like and that's I think where the Reebok kind of did the black top, because black top kind of had that print, like that leopardy speckled print. And so when the Jordan 3s came out, like those were like the first ones that I remember people seeing. And then I think it's the 4s that had that little patch on the side that was like it kind of looked like a bike reflector. It was like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It had like a clear bike reflector thing on the side, and then it had the like lace keeper. Do you remember those?
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Let me see a picture of these.
So like the Jordan 4s, the ones that were like the red, they were mostly white, and then they had like the red and black accent.
Talking about this?
No, but they were the white versions. And then they had the like yes. Exactly.
Oh, for the record, I'm holding it up to the screen so people
It's
can
real
see.
hard to see, but yeah, those are them. And
For
then
the record, I showed British Knights every time.
but they had like kind of like those, like you put your laces through like that plastic thing, and those
Yeah,
were like
which kind of look like something from like an erector set.
yeah. So I think Bill Blonsky, I think if I remember right, Bill Blonsky, whose dad was like the manager of a shoe store. I think Bill Blonsky was the first kid I ever knew that had a pair of Jordans, and I think he had the threes.
Yeah.
Now, when the fours came out, then more kids you would see those around town, and
Now,
those are awesome.
yeah, I mean, some of the Jordans that, and I remember some of them. I never was able to afford them.
Those I'd love to have now, like the Jordan 4s.
Yeah.
When I was looking for them, the Tinkers popped up, and I loved those. But
Yeah.
I would love to have a pair of those.
Grant's got probably, I think, 6 pair of Jordans right now, and he's gonna buy another one that he really likes. I don't remember which ones they are, but it's funny because while we were watching The Last Dance, that's originally what we started talking about. They haven't talked about his shoes at all, hardly. Like, I'm surprised that hasn't come up. And maybe there's 10 episodes, so they're going to talk about that later on.
See, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't like.
Because this isn't technically a Michael Jordan documentary, is it?
Correct. It's about the Bulls, and it's about the last season. And so through talking about the last season, they're bringing you up to speed on like, hey, during this last season, they had to get through the Pistons. They had to get through this. These are some of the people that they traded for. But like, they're not going through like Jordan's rookie year where he gets the shoe contract. Like, I don't see that because the purpose of it is going through the last season
Right.
of that. And so, I mean, maybe it could. I mean, there's obviously people are a lot more creative out there than me, go figure.
Right.
But I don't see how that would play into it.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Did you watch this week?
Yes.
Do you think the Pistons were given a raw deal with their walk-off? Because people are saying...
I've always thought that they got a raw deal with the walk-off. Because...
For those of you who don't know, and we'll just give you the 30-second version, at the end of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I don't even know what year it would have been, 92 maybe?
Yeah,
because they won it in 89, and then they won it in 90. It might have been 91 or 92.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, someone was at the free throw line. Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and a couple other players walked off the court and went to the locker room without shaking hands with Michael Jordan. He has been butthurt for 30 years because of it.
Yeah.
And I saw a thing yesterday that John Sally was on some podcast, and he said, imagine you're Michael Jordan. You're the best player ever. You're a millionaire. Everyone thinks you're the best. And when you go to bed at night, you're still thinking about the Pistons.
Yeah.
Like, your ass is still chapped from that. I feel great that he's still upset about that because clearly he's still pissed about this.
I love it. The Bad Boys were one of those summers, like leading up, like the summer of like 86, 87. I remember being in my backyard with an extension cord of about 200 feet running in the back. Honest to God, this is the God's honest truth. Like a 200-foot extension cord, like cords plugged together. So we could set up a TV in the backyard while my mom was doing yard work. And like I was on a tire swing and we were watching like Celtics, Pistons, like those playoffs, like leading up to, where we would lose and then we would lose. And then finally we broke through in 88, 89. The basketball back then, the characters, everything, the slam dunk contest that led up to the playoffs, all that. It was, and maybe it was just because of that, the age that I was at in life. People tend to gravitate towards the best things in life were when they were between the ages of like 12 and 16. Like that's the music you love for the rest of your life. Those are the sports teams you love. But I just remember like that was the best basketball. But yeah, people don't realize that they walked off. And what I was getting at was that was the best era of basketball. And I love it. I absolutely love it that everybody has always kissed Michael Jordan's butt.
Oh, for sure.
Like he has been told by nobody. Like he's a yes. He could go up to a woman who's happily married standing in front of her husband. And if he's like, hey, you're going home with me, she'd be like, okay. Like you're Michael Jordan. And the Bad Boys were the only people that never gave him his due. Yeah. They were like, screw you. Like you better earn it. You better whatever. Didn't kiss his butt. And yes, here we are 30 years later, 35 years later. And dude is still chapped about it because
oh my God, beyond chapped.
Only perfect. It's the only person who's never said yes to him and never
Right.
like, well, it's Jordan. Like, of course he beat it. No, man. Like, oh, it was awesome. I loved it.
It's funny because again, in the Bad Boys, they didn't really touch on it as much. The Bad Boys 30 for 30 as they did in this one, that the Celtics did the exact same thing. And
Right.
that was sort of how it was done, that once your run was over, it was time for you to walk off the court.
Yeah,
and
you're like yielding the court to the new champion. You're like passing the baton. You're exiting stage left.
Yep, done.
Giving them the stage as Darko was the
the human cigar.
Yeah. So it was like that. You take all your stars off. So there's not cameras in the faces of Robert Parrish. There's not a camera in the face of Kevin McHale, Larry Bird. All those cameras are now pointed at Pistons. And that's what you did. You like slid off and you left and it changed. And Jordan, is still butthurt from that.
Yeah, he definitely is. But yeah, that's the thing I was just surprised about, was that they didn't really do him right. Now, I'm not surprised because clearly this is a Michael Jordan documentary. I agree with you. They may not get into the shoe stuff, but they certainly have. We've seen him in high school. We found out he didn't go to, that he didn't make his varsity team as a sophomore. I mean, there's so much that they added on there about Michael Jordan. There's stuff they also, I think, have left off. I don't know that they're going to talk about his gambling and also the fact that he used to cheat on his wife all the time. That's a whole different documentary. Right. I don't think that they're going to run. But it was so interesting to me that, like I said, 30 years later, that is the thing that enraged him the most. I mean, you realize he's Michael Jordan. He's done all these things. He still is like, there's nothing you can do or say or show me that tells me that Isaiah Thomas is not still an asshole. He's still pissed about this.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with him there. I think Isaiah Thomas is an absolute a-hole. And I've read about all the stuff with him. Like he's a degenerate too, who has this amazing personality and smile. They call him the smiling assassin because he just smiles. It's so nice, and he'll just cut you down. But I would agree with Jordan with his thoughts on Isaiah.
Yeah.
But as far as like the Pistons in general and that whole walk-off, and that's what you're angry about, people have talked about it since those episodes aired. Like, he should have the word I'm going to use is like a reverence. Like, he should have a reverence for that Pistons team that made him refocus and say, I've gotten to this point and I'm the best in the NBA, but my best isn't good enough. I have to work out more. I have to get bigger in the off season. I got to get tougher if we're going to go through Detroit. So in that sense, I mean, it would be like, it would be like if a boxer, you had to work your butt off to beat Mike Tyson, and then you beat Mike Tyson because he made you train harder than you ever trained before. Then you beat him, and then you talk crap about him and tell him what it, like he
for
made
30
you
years.
better.
For 30 years.
They made you better.
Right.
That's what's weird to me.
Yeah, and the other thing that they left out of this thing too as well is that apparently 2 days before he had been, telling reporters that they're a fake champion, that they're terrible for the game of basketball, that they're cheaters, that they're thugs, they're this, that, and the other thing. I do find it interesting, and I don't know if they even asked him, that Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer, neither one of them were on that special. And I wonder if they asked them and they said no, or they just didn't ask him at all, because it would be hilarious to me is if they asked Bill Laimbeer, do you want to be on this, this great Jordan special in this Bulls, and he was like, nah, I'm good, because he's a great a-hole too, I've heard.
Yeah, I love me some Laimbeer though.
Me too, because he's our a-hole, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's my a-hole.
I think my personal opinion on why I don't think they put Laimbeer on was because what they had to cram into the amount of time. Isaiah probably said it best. And if you talk to Bill Laimbeer, or if you've seen interviews with him in the last decade, like, he doesn't hold anything against them. Like, Bill Laimbeer doesn't hate Michael Jordan.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, Bill Laimbeer is like, dude, Jordan's like the greatest ever. I'm glad I got to play against him, but we dominated him.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like, he's like, for that time, we did our game plan to win that game. We did what we needed to do. And until he could counter that, which he did 3 years later, like Bill Laimbeer does not talk crap about like Micheal Jordan in the stuff that I've seen and read and can recollect off the top of my head right now.
Right.
But he's like, dude, I think he's the greatest ever. I'm glad I got to play with him. You know, he's great for the game, all that. Bill Laimbeer went out and did a job.
Yeah.
And he did it well, and he got people off their game, and he got in their heads. So I don't think they would have got what everyone wanted out of Bill Laimbeer, but that you get that with Isaiah.
Well, yeah, exactly, because Isaiah plays both sides of the fence as well. Like, he's so funny because he's got this big old smile.
Yep.
And then the one thing that he does that I've noticed, and they did notice this in the Bad Boys documentary as well, he always blames someone else. Like, he's the captain of the team, and he's like, yeah, Laimbeer said, let's leave the floor, so we left the floor. And and there's another part where Isaiah says something along the lines of, he said in front of Dennis Rodman, who we'll talk about next time, that Larry Bird only gets pressed because he's white. Do you remember this whole thing?
Yes.
But then when he had to back it up and apologize, he said he never said it. Like, he sort of never commits to anything. Like, nothing's his fault.
Right.
And I noticed that in this documentary as well.
Yeah, it was. Do you ever watch, like, when you watch TV shows, you watch movies, and because it's a movie, it's obviously there's more drama to it, but you're yelling at the screen like, why don't you just say this?
Yes.
Why don't you just tell the girl the truth?
Right.
You know, that's like what I've always felt about Isaiah Thomas. Like, stop trying to be flowery with your words. Quit trying to be a spokesperson. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Just speak from the heart and let us know, and we'll decipher it and we'll weigh it. But like, he talks all this other stuff like that apology for Larry Bird. Like, it was just odd.
Yeah,
they go over that real big in the Bad Boys documentary for the 30
just
for
the
30.
way. Yeah, that one's definitely worth watching. But I'll tell you what,
that one's worth watching twice a year.
Yeah, I feel like after watching this Last Dance, there was this sort of feeling within me, like when I watched them just banging dudes around and throwing him to the ground, and the fact that he's still mad, I felt some Detroit pride. I really did. I know that
absolutely do.
Like, there was something so interesting about the fact that they were like, we hate, like, Scotty Pippen, we hated them. I had a bog weight, and they, you know what I mean? And he hated them.
Dude, I'm gonna go. This might be a little too philosophical, and it might be the peanut butter whiskey talking, but
we might have to let the juniors out in the middle of your statement.
Hopefully not. But like, think about Detroit. Think about Detroit sports. The teams that this city has rallied around in the past have been that black eye, blue collar. Like, we got around the Bad Boy Pistons, and like those games were packed. And even like if they went on a streak where they weren't winning or whatever, you still had their back. The Red Wings, when it was the Bob Probert, Kosar years, and like we weren't a good team, but because they were tough, the people of Detroit had that pride.
You talking about the grind line? Remember them?
Yeah, but even back before the grind line, like when it was Probert, Kosar, Yzerman was in like his third year, Peter Klima, Gerard Gallant, like all those guys, like they were out there fighting and they were grinding every single night, and the city got behind them. The Lions have never had a team that showed that like Detroit like grit.
Right.
But like the Red Wings did, the Tiger, and even the Tigers. Like, I noticed it the year, because I'm not a big baseball fan. So when baseball is big to me and it's on my radar, obviously I'm like a fair weather fan when it comes to baseball. So
everyone is, dude.
So like when I started getting that feeling again of like, yeah, this is my team, is when we got Kyle Farnsworth. Do you remember him?
No.
The relief pitcher. And he, like, you can look up clips like on YouTube of Kyle Farnsworth. Dude would just pop people. He was a pitcher. And if some dude like cracked a home run and like flipped his bat next time up, Farnsworth, boop, would just drill
I didn't
him.
know that. Okay, I don't even know who this guy is.
Dudes have like charged the mound against Farnsworth, and he just pummels them. Yeah, he just pummels them.
Like Nolan Ryan style?
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And then we traded Farnsworth. And so it was like, but these teams that like gel because of like their physicality, that's what we like here. Like, we don't need a Wayne Gretzky on the team. I don't need on the Red Wings. I don't need Alexander Ovechkin. I don't need Sidney Crosby. I need a guy who could score 25 goals a year, And then when someone gets in his face, can punch that dude in his face, not like curl up and go back to the bench.
One
And
of the biggest names ever for the Red Wings is Darren McCarty.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's where our sports teams are. Like our Pistons, they don't like we crave bad boy and we don't have it. And the Red Wings, we want toughness and we get pushed around by everybody. Lions have been that for a century.
Right.
You know, and then the Tigers, you know, the Tigers are the Tigers. But that's what I always think. In Detroit, I think your sports teams reflect your city.
Right.
And I think our city has been built on grit and like we're not the best. You know, like Detroit has survived through the centuries. We're a big Midwestern town on a lot of water, right?
Right.
We don't have what Miami offers. We don't have the weather that Arizona, you know, that Phoenix or Southern California or the beauty of the East or West Coast. We're just this dirty Rust Belt town in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And we've had great sports teams and stuff like that. And people rally around just that, like, we're going to fight for it.
Yep.
And when our teams don't reflect us as a people, we don't get behind them. And that's why I think Detroit sports kind of suck right now. But it's going to take those, like, you know, some tough dudes getting out there and throwing elbows, whether you're a basketball player, a hockey player, or a baseball player. Just go out and throw some elbows. Like,
and we'll root for you.
Hey, I'll buy your jersey, man.
Yeah, I'll rock it around town. Okay, so next time I'm gonna hit him with who let the juniors out in just a second. But next time we are gonna talk about Joe's run-in with Dennis Rodman. Joe has a great Dennis Rodman story. It'll be next time on Cal Cagner Radio. Who let the juniors out? Let's stop the recording.